Hello students, welcome to grade 7 English grammar class. And today in this session we are going to learn about the concept of pronouns. So when we say pronouns, the word noun is hidden inside it, right? So what does that mean? If I say you just read noun, right, and separate pro, what do you understand by pro? Pro is something which takes place, right? Which is quite active to take its place, right? So simply to understand, pronouns are the words which are used in place of nouns to just avoid the repetition of the noun in particular sentence of the paragraph or the passage, right? So just an example, if I say Mohan is a student of grade 7. Mohan likes to eat pizza in his lunch. Mohan is every teacher's pet, right? So this repetition of Mohan, you will find that Mohan again and again. Can I just replace this Mohan, which is falling back again and again in the following sentences, with such word which actually does not exaggerate on the name of the person? So there is a word that is he, right? He is actually a pronoun used for the male version, right? So we can say Mohan is a grade 7 student. He likes to eat pizza. He is every teacher's pet, right? So just to avoid the repetition of the noun in the sentence, we just replace the nouns with appropriate pronouns, right? So this you have already understood. Now we will just practice certain nouns. So there is a list of pronouns like I, you, we, they, he, she, and it. Okay, these pronouns are actually called the subjective pronouns. Why? Because these pronouns are replaced in the beginning of the sentence, right, for the nouns which are following as the subject in the sentence itself, right? So if I say my name is Monica, right? So if I say Monica goes to school every day to teach the students, right? This is quite awkward because this is me speaking for myself. So I will use I go to school to teach the students every day. So this is a first person pronoun, right? You is used for the second person when you actually refer to someone else. You have to complete your task by tomorrow, right? So this is you is actually used for the second person whom you are speaking to, right? We is actually the collective pronoun used for a group. So if there is there is more than one or more people, right, we use we. They is used for the collective third person pronoun, right? Like if there are a lot of people, so we will say they are going to the picnic together. He is used for the males and she is used for the females. So here we understand the gender, right? So this is a masculine gender, he, and she is a feminine gender. It is usually used for the non-living things as well as the animals, right? So this is all about pronouns which you have already studied in your previous grades. In this session, we are going to go a little ahead and understand the different types of pronouns. So when I say different types of pronouns, these are actually called the personal pronouns, right? So I, you, we, they, he, she, it are actually called personal pronouns because they are used for the person, right? So it's personal, right? So this is all about the personal pronoun, okay? So I, you, we, they, he, she, it. Can we just convert it into, these are all subjective. So when we say these are the personal pronouns, they are falling into subjective case, right? Can we have the objective case of these pronouns? Yes. How? When I say I like to cook some pasta for me, right? So I stands for me as a subject and me stands for me only as a subject, right? So here what is the thing to be noticed? That me is an objective case here, right? So I is a subjective case and me is an objective case. For we, see, you remains you only. This is a neutral pronoun. So it remains you only, right? You like to cook, for you only. We becomes us, right? They becomes them, right? He becomes him and she becomes her. So these are the subjective cases and these are called the objective cases. Okay, so personal pronouns are actually divided into two cases, right? The subjective case, I, you, we, they, he, she, it, and when you have to convert them into objective cases, you will write me, you, us, them, him, her, and for it remains again it only, so you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, so this is all about the personal pronoun, which is actually the first form of the pronoun, first type of the pronoun which you are learning right now. Now the next is demonstrative. What is the meaning of demonstrative pronouns? A demonstrative pronoun is used to point towards a noun it replaces, indicating in its time, space and distance, right? Like this thing nearby us, or that thing that is far from us, right? In plural we say these, so things which actually nearby us again, and those which are far from us. So these are actually called demonstrative pronouns, right? So this, that, these and those. Be very careful. If there is a noun after it, it will not be a pronoun, right? In that case, it will become, these words will become the demonstrative adjective. But these actually demonstrate in terms of the time and space, right? So it has to be used like, this is my pencil, right? So if I write, this is my pen or pencil, right? So this is actually the subjective case, right? Here we cannot say it is a personal one, so we are not using here any personal pronoun, neither in subjective nor in objective case. But the sentence is beginning with this, and it stands for a noun, pen. Pen is a thing, and this pen is somewhere nearby us, so we will say that this is my pen, right? If I have to replace it with that, I will say that is my pen, as in the pen is lying a little far from you. If I say these are my pens, right, it means there are many pens which are lying near you. So these and those are actually the plural form of the demonstrative pronoun, whereas this and that are the single form of the demonstrative pronouns, right? I hope this is very simple. You have already learned, read a lot of sentences beginning with this, that, these and those, right? So you simply now know that these, this, that, these and those falling in the beginning of the sentence that refer to a thing, right, in the end, that is the objective one, is actually the demonstrative pronoun. Now comes to understand the interrogative pronoun. An interrogative pronoun is used to ask a question about a person, thing or object, so which are, I'm beginning my question like which. So like, who is that boy? Do you see? It's a question, right? So question means interrogation. We have done it in types of sentences, right? Interrogative, right? Interrogative as in asking the question. So who is used in place of the noun in the beginning of the sentence. Hence it becomes interrogative pronoun. Similarly, we have which is your home, right? And whose pencil is this, right? Then we have like what. What is your name? Whom are you looking for? So these are all the WH words, and all WH words are actually the question words. We understand this fact very, very nicely, right? So the questions begin with these words, but when we have to determine the part of speech these WH words are, we will say that these are actually interrogative pronouns because they fall in the beginning of the sentence in place of a noun. Hence, they are asking you the question. They will become interrogative pronouns. Simple as that. Yeah. So these are the basic 5 interrogative pronouns which we have just learned. So we have understood what is all about personal pronouns, demonstrative and interrogative. Now let's understand about reflexive pronoun. Reflexive. When you hear this word reflexive, what is reflexive? That actually reflects, right? So we reflect something about ourselves. Ourselves. This is actually a reflexive pronoun, right? So if I say I believe in myself, right? So I is a personal pronoun, there is no doubt about it, you have already understood, right? Myself. Now you see, in myself you already have the personal pronoun sitting in it, right? This is something to reflect my feelings about myself, which is the reason why it becomes a reflexive bit, because it is reflecting my feeling. Similarly, I can say that she likes to cook all by herself. So this is her action, this is her interest and inclination towards the work she does all by herself. So herself is also a reflexive pronoun. Similarly, you can say that he likes to buy things for himself. So himself. I hope you have understood. But where will it come? It will come in the end of the sentence. If it is coming right after the personal pronoun, it is not a reflexive pronoun. It has to come at the end of the sentence to reflect about the idea or the action or the feelings of the personal pronoun used in the beginning of the sentence. Right? So, I've given you the examples also again and again that she likes to cook all by herself. Right? So she is actually the personal pronoun which is coming in the beginning of the sentence, and herself is coming at the end of the sentence. Hence, she is personal pronoun and herself is the reflexive pronoun of she, because it is actually reflecting the idea of she. Right? Similarly, himself. So he likes to buy things for himself. So the sentence begins with he likes to buy things for himself, right? So what do you notice? You notice that himself is falling at the end of the sentence. Hence, it will be the reflexive pronoun, right? The idea is clear that it just reflects the feelings, the ideas, the emotions or the actions of the personal pronoun which is falling in the beginning of the sentence, and it has to fall at the end. Now, why did I ask you? Why did I, give you this information that when words like himself, myself, herself, their self, right? When these words fall at the end of the sentence, they are reflexive. And when they are coming right after the personal pronoun, they are not reflexive. No, they are not reflexive. Then they become actually emphasizing pronouns. What? Emphasizing. Now, what is emphasizing? When you actually just give the clue about your action, you say that I myself do not know what is going on, right? So there you are actually emphasizing about your feelings, right? So you say I myself do not know anything about it. Okay? Anything about it or anything about the action. So this word self is falling right after the personal pronoun, right? She herself is a very lazy person. She herself is a lazy person, right? So she is a personal pronoun and this herself is falling right after this, right? So this is actually to emphasize on the person's characteristics, which is the reason why this is called the emphasizing pronoun. I hope you have understood the difference between reflexive pronoun and emphasizing pronoun. In reflexive pronoun, the pronoun falls in the end. I mean, the reflexive pronoun, these self words fall in the end to reflect on the idea, concept and feeling of the personal pronoun which is coming in the beginning of the sentence. And in emphasizing, the self words come directly straight after the personal pronouns to emphasize on the feelings or the characteristics of that personal pronoun or of the person, right? I hope this is absolutely clear to you. Now we will understand the next type of pronoun, which is the possessive pronoun, right? The word is possessive pronoun. We have already understood this possessive case of noun, which is actually shows the belongingness or the ownership by a particular person. That is a noun, right? That was all about the possessive noun. This is possessive pronoun. So you know that if I say Ram's book, right? So Ram's is a possessive case of noun here, and when I convert it into possessive pronoun, I will write his book. So here his is a possessive case, right? Similarly, if I say Monica's ice cream or Monica's notebook, right? Monica's book or whatever, right? So I convert I into I, Monica's into I, because this is my name, right? So I is what here? Just falling. No, sorry, not I. It is my book. I is the personal pronoun, and when we have to convert it into possessive pronoun, we will say my book. Simple as that. So when we have to show the possession by a pronoun, we use it right before the noun. So you can say book is a noun, right? My bicycle, my table, my computer, right? Her sister. So her is a possessive pronoun here. His chair. So chair's possession is by boy, and we are using his. So boy's chair or his chair, right? Old man's stick. So a stick is in the possession of old man. That is a possessive case of a noun. So we can just convert old man with his. So his is a pronoun here. His stick, right? So all the words like his, him, her, my, their. It's very important to understand this. Their, their, right? So this is for the plural. You know, this is actually the plural of a group of people. So their school, their class. So what is there in this case? Just because you have a noun right after following, you know, this word, it becomes the possessive pronoun because this is a pronoun. I hope you have understood, right, these all pronouns. Now we will just take a look at the last type of pronoun. These are very simple to understand if you practice them and you understand the meaning hidden behind it, right? So the last thing, the last type of pronoun which we are going to learn is relative pronoun. And what is relative? See, again you have to understand the meaning of relative. What is relative? That actually relates, you know, two people with each other, two places or two things with each other, right? So a very good example which I would like to give about relative is that I have a friend whose office plants have died, right? So the words like who, whom, whose, right? These are all the relative pronouns. Who, whose, and whom. And they all fall in the middle of the sentence. What? Middle of the sentence, right? So, I know a man whose wife lives in London. I know a dog whose tail is very short, right? I have seen a person whom you had seen the last year. So when we relate, the two ideas, right? We relate with that person by using these words like who, whose, and whom. We know that these are actually the relative pronouns. And why are they relative pronouns? Because they relate, between two things. So a relative pronoun is used to connect a clause or a phrase to a noun or a pronoun. They are placed directly after the noun or pronoun, right? So like directly after the noun, as in I have a friend whose plants have died because of the excess of heat. So friend and then whom, right? So let me write this. I have a friend. Friend is a noun. Whose plants. So now right after this we have this relative pronoun, right? Whose plants have died due to excess heat. Yeah. So with the help of this example, you can easily understand that relative pronoun is actually the pronoun that connects two clauses, right, or two ideas, right? And just because it falls right after the noun, it is a relative pronoun. Otherwise, we have the conjunctions also which actually connect two sentences or two clauses together. They put two clauses together. They connect it together. Hence, they are the conjunctions. But here, just because whose, right, is coming right after the noun and it is relating to a noun. See the word relate. It is relating to the nouns and hence it becomes the relative pronoun. So I hope you have understood these 7 types of pronouns. We began with personal pronouns, I, you, we, they, he, she, it, right? These are the personal pronouns in the subjective case. In objective case, we say I becomes me, you becomes you only. It is actually a neutral one. We becomes us, right? They becomes them. He becomes his. She becomes her, right? This is the personal pronoun, the list of the personal pronouns. Then comes the demonstrative, which is very easy to understand. This, that, these, those are actually the demonstrative pronouns which fall in the beginning of the sentence. Then comes the interrogative, which asks the question falling again in the beginning of the sentence, ending with a question mark, right? So, who is your aunt, right? What is your name? So, these who, what, whose bicycle are you riding? These are all interrogative pronouns. Reflexive is that reflect, the action of the personal pronoun, which is used in the beginning of the sentence, and reflexive comes in the end of the sentence. Just on the contrary, when we use the self words right after the personal pronoun in the same sentence, that is emphasizing pronoun, right? Then comes the possessive pronoun. Possessive pronoun are actually to replace the possessive case of the noun, right? Like Ram's bicycle. So Ram's is actually replaced with his in the sentence to show the possession of the bicycle. So we can say his bicycle, right? And then the relative pronoun that actually relates to the noun used in the sentence, connecting the two ideas, putting together in such a manner that we understand that the things which we are talking about in the sentence belong to the noun, the major noun which is used in the sentence. So this is all about the pronoun. I hope you have understood this concept. With the practice, you will learn it better, right? So thank you so much for attending this session. In next session, we will attempt some exercises relating these pronouns to understand them better. Yeah, thank you so much.